So you guys are obviously, as we were talking off air, from Germany.
Yes.
A lot of people, it's funny, in the US, they'll say, oh, we're going on a European tour. And a lot of bands will only play Germany, or they'll
Yes.
only play Sweden or the UK. It's really not all of Europe.
Yep.
Germany is the biggest country in the EU, obviously. Can a band like New Roses be successful just by playing in Germany, or do you have to leave Germany in order to, financially make it?
A lot of German bands sing in German, and they only tour Germany then, and maybe Austria and Switzerland because they talk German there too,
Right.
kind of a German. Um, so it's easily possible if you have enough fans. It's no problem if you do that. But
Right.
we play like international rock music, so we sing in English, and our style is very American.
Hmm.
So from day one on, we wanted to get as far as we could and see as many places as possible.
Right. Okay. Um, we just touched upon the UK and you guys being an international band. Have you guys, or did you have the ability to play in the UK before Brexit took place? And how does that affect you guys as a band now? Does that make you not want to go to the UK now because, it doesn't make sense because of the taxes and all that? Or,
Yeah, it's of course it's a pain in the ass with all the paperwork now. That's terrible. But before that, you just showed your passport, hey buddy, and then you just pass on through. And now you have to fill out all these forms and blah blah blah, and it's a pain in the ass, but it's definitely not holding us back from going there and playing because it's a very cool country for rock music and
Mhm.
they approach it in a very different way. You always think we're all I don't know, like kind of looking the same, in America and Germany and UK, and we're all understand English, but it's their cultural differences,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you see that when you play there and how people move and how they freak out at a show, or maybe they a little holding back and maybe a little shy or maybe a little more upfront. And so it's very interesting to go all these places and play. And in the UK has been always been like one of our favorite countries to play in because they they give it all. They have no plan B when they go to a rock concert.
Good
And
way of.
we're going back in December and play and tour.
Oh, wow, cool.
Yeah.
Sweet Poison offers up a lot of different styles of hard
Yes.
rock. It's not one thing, which I think makes the album really cool because you have a lot of bands that focus on that one hit or what they
Yes.
want to be a hit, and then everything after that is version B, C, D of that song. From beginning to end, Sweet Poison varies a lot. Um, did you guys intentionally do that, or is that just how this album came out?
You know what you just said in the beginning is one of the biggest temptations of a songwriter or a
Right.
band. With our last record, we had a song called "Down by the River" on our record called "Nothing But Wild."
Mhm.
And hang on, there's somebody on the phone. So,
Sure.
um, and that song was a big success for us, and so the temptation is very close and very present, that to say, okay, let's do like a B version or part two of that.
Mhm.
But we never did that before. If you listen to our singles over the last years, they're all very very different to each other.
Mhm.
And if you listen to our records, from our first record, it's been 5 records now, and the
Right.
first record back in 2012, the Without a Trace record, we always mixed so many genres because we have so many different interests and musical tastes inside the band. And that's
Mhm.
a very tough procedure to go through when we're making the songs, because we fight a lot, and I hate this song and I hate this, I will never play this live, you asshole. And we have a lot of this, but then everything falls into place, and we balance everything out so everybody feels comfortable with it, with the songs. And
Mhm.
that's how this colorful um colorful. I don't know, that colorful whatever get together of all these songs come alive, you know. So
Mhm.
we try, we fight it out, and then we bring it out.
Yeah, that's interesting because that was one of my next questions is since you guys are so diverse with things,
Yes,
is there ever a time where something is just so way out there that you guys say,
yes,
no, 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 there's no way
definitely,
we're using that?
definitely. It's like I wrote 65 songs for this record.
Mhm.
So, and we only use 11, and sometimes I sometimes when I show the demo, already I know this is not gonna happen, you know.
Yeah.
Because when I write a song, I don't give a fuck whatever wherever it leads me. I just follow
Mhm.
the song. I just want to write a good song, and I
Right.
love a lot of different music. I love country music as much as I love folk music, much as I love blues or rock and roll and hard rock and metal, all these things. I get that. I get that
Mhm.
fundamental drive of every genre, you know.
Right.
And I'm excited for that. And when I write a riff or I have a line, or I just follow that path, and then I finish the song and I'm all fired up because I like the song, and I don't give a shit, you know, what genre it is or how you would call it. So I send it around to the guys, and they sometimes they write back like, are you crazy, man? You know, this is not even possible to play for us. You know, we don't want that shit. So that happens a lot, you know. But it's
Mhm.
you know, over the years, it's a fifth record now, and you kind of get, you know, used to that procedure. So at first, when that first happened on the first and second record, there was a lot more fighting going on, and now
Right.
we're all, now everybody knows. Okay, here comes another crazy song, you know. So we just let him ride that, and stuff like that. So we're yeah, we have a lot more humor now to uh, involve to work things out.
Right. Okay. So, given that you write so much music, how
Yes.
far back do these songs come from? Are these songs that you wrote between the two albums? Are there songs that were lying around for 10 years or they songs you wrote in the studio?
No, most of the times I wrote the songs um, on the tours, like between touring, you know.
Mhm.
And I have a scratch book, um, and I just write down notes, small lines or uh, fragments of
Mhm.
songs, and I have my phone, and I just humble or mumble, or what's the English
Yeah,
word?
mumble. Yeah.
I mumble just weird melodies into my phone, and I try to you know, to remember them when I hear them, you know, again
Mhm.
weeks later. And um and I collect, and then at a certain point, I take everything out, and I start writing, and I take the notes, and I take the riffs, and I just start writing for a new record. And this time it was a little different because we couldn't go on tour. The whole record was written during the lockdowns, and that was a different drive. You had to find a different routine, you know.
Mhm.
Routine is a important thing for me as a songwriter. I'm not the um, you know, I'm a working horse. You know, I go to my studio here every day, and I take out the guitar and I write. You know, and I do have my routine.
Mhm.
But during COVID, nothing was really possible. You couldn't rehearse, you couldn't jam, you couldn't go on tour and write things down that you see on the road. So we had to find different ways to come alive with this record. And the main difference was we knew the present sucks, and the
Mhm.
future is uncertain. So we turned around and looked on our early years, and I thumbed through my own life story, you know, in my early 20s and teenage days, and what excited me when I was a little younger, you know. And I wrote a lot of them songs about these days, and that
Mhm.
worked out pretty good.
Cool. Is there anything that you think worked in your favor by having that lockdown? Is there anything that you feel that you were able to work on that maybe had you been on the road you weren't able to do, but given the downtime you were able to do certain things?
So it's really tough to say. I ask that question a lot, but you never find an answer because you can't have two parallel universes, and see what works out better,
Right.
So definitely at first we actually embraced the break, because we were on tour like years straight,
Right. Mhm.
and then you were at home for the first time, and you could actually like open your closet and say, ah, wow, I got clothes here, and and stuff like that, and wow, I got read all my letters,
Mhm.
and that was crazy to finally be home for a while, um and that like kind of charged the batteries a little,
Mhm.
but on the other hand, you learned how to really appreciate what you do or what you did before,
Right.
in a with a brand new passion, you
Mhm.
know because after years on the road, we had 4 records out when the lockdowns came, and so we've been constantly on tour since the second record, so 5 years nonstop everywhere. So you kind of start, thinking it's taking it for granted, and you start bitching
Right.
about it. You say, oh, it's so much playing, and oh, all this, flying and driving and being on the boat with Kiss. Oh, it's so difficult, it's so exhausting being with Kiss all the time, and then
Right.
uh, and then you're at home, and then you realize, what, wow, what a hell of a ride that was, and I
Mhm.
can't wait to get back in that crazy circus, and have
Right.
all these crazy experience, meet all these crazy people, and play all these great places and stuff. So now that we're back on tour, we have a lot of our old, like, premature, puberty, kind of reckless, we want to conquer the world kind of passion back again.
Right. Okay. And you said that you went back in time to kind of re-examine what
Yeah.
influenced you way back when. How do you feel that you've evolved as an artist from back then to 2022?
I get to where I want to go much quicker now.
Okay.
So I ride way faster than back then. So that's a good thing. Because you know your strengths, your weaknesses, and you kind of learn how to navigate, towards and away from one thing and the other thing, and that helps a lot.
Mhm.
And you get a little more relaxed, which is really cool.
Right.
Relaxed in a way of not being afraid anymore, because being afraid was a big thing for me always as an artist. Afraid
Mhm.
to embarrass yourself, afraid to let people down, let the audience down, uh, afraid of just sucking, and all these things. And now that you've proven yourself in so many difficult situations all over the world, and you've been through so much shit, especially in the early days. We were sleeping in the van, and we had no money, and we had no audience, and we had no clue, and we were still going forward, always forward,
Right.
making so many mistakes. And now that you made all these mistakes, you know what you're capable of, you know what you can stand, you know what you know how hard you can fight if you really want stuff. That
Mhm.
gives you like a very healthy version of self-esteem
Right.
and comfort. So you can now, every time I walk out on stage, I breathe in one deep breath, and then I go out and enjoy my own show,
Mhm.
enjoy the company of the people that used to frighten me, because I didn't want to
Right.
let anybody down or embarrass myself. Now I can go out and say, like, whatever happens, I've been there already,
Mhm.
and that's a very, very cool evolution as a band, and you feel that on stage now. We're just there, we're relaxed, you know.
Okay. And how do you feel that your influences have changed back then to what they are now? You obviously mentioned a lot of different styles of music. So maybe there are things that you listened to back then that you don't listen to now, and vice versa, things that you listen to now that
Yes.
you never would have listened to back then.
I wouldn't say that. I think that the pendulum, is that a word?
Yeah.
Just swings back and forth. You know,
Okay.
that's the main thing. I always thought like uh, when I joined the New Rose, or when I formed the New Rose with Urban, I was really into harder music. I liked Machine Head and Pantera and these bands. You know, I liked it very much. And then, but I always liked folk music and country music as well. You know. And over the years, my passion for country music got bigger and bigger and bigger, and I didn't listen to metal that much anymore. And then I
Right.
thought maybe that's just not your thing anymore, you know.
Mhm.
But you know, I feel the pendulum swings back every once in a while, and then you
Right.
just just take out your other records and you put them in again. And so I wouldn't say like the influence change. You know, it's just like
Right.
they move to the front or move into the background, and then you just enjoy the company of that music. It's like that thing when you meet different friends,
Right.
and those friends, if you would bring them together, they would not get along. They would hate each
Right.
other.
Right.
But you're like the connecting link in between them.
Mhm.
You understand your crazy friend, and you understand your responsible friend, or and you get along with both of them, but they would never get along.
Right. Right.
And this is me and music, man. I feel like that link in between. I like so many different things, and sometimes I like that more, and sometimes I like that more. But I wouldn't say that we really changed and said I like that, but
Mhm.
I'm not liking it now.
Okay. Um, we mentioned again off air that you guys are from Wiesbaden, very
Yes,
big U.S. military presence there.
yes,
You guys did, as per Wikipedia, you guys did 2 shows in Afghanistan.
that's true.
Um, how did that all come about?
We wanted to do it. We
Okay.
wanted to do it. You know, uh, in America, it's a common thing. I think you have a whole organization called the USO that takes
Yeah.
care of all these things. We don't have that in Germany,
Hmm.
and we wanted to do that. So we contact the Bundeswehr, which is our military, and
Hmm.
say like, hey, if you ever think it's a good idea, we would volunteer to come.
Hmm.
And soon after that, they called and said like, hey, you want to come? And then we went there, and it was a great experience in many many different ways. Uh, was like really like, yeah, it changed my mind, changed my life in a certain way. Not politically and all these things. It's a way more like in a for human reasons, not political reasons or whatever. It's like people that work there, people that live there, people that tell their stories and from their perspective, and you get some insights that you would never get from the news or from everything. I'm not
Right.
saying that there's a different reality there, that it's there,
Hmm.
the true that the news are lying, or I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying you get the story behind those soldiers
Yeah.
and those people there, and just to come there and see how happy they were and how glad that anybody showed up. Most of those people didn't know us at that time.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they just didn't give a shit. They said like, "Wow, somebody's visiting us. Somebody's giving
Yeah.
a shit." So we came and we played 2 shows, but we've been there for 6 days,
Hmm.
and people would show us their helicopters and show us their, I don't know, rooms, and they would talk about their wives and kids at back home, and how they miss them and how they're afraid to die in combat. And
Mhm.
so we were, it had a real, like a psychological side, that trip. We
Right.
were really giving people an opportunity to talk,
Mhm.
and they took that opportunity, and we were more listening to those stories than we would actually play, and that was really something. And the other big thing for me was, as a growing up in Germany, I would never, very fortunately, I had never had to fear, um, like, or had my life threatened. I felt my life in danger. Never had that emotion in my whole life. And when we got picked up from the airport and we're, we got transported to the base, they, pulled the curtains, and the guards, loaded their guns, and everybody was focusing and were nervous. And so you actually felt like, I was asking, like, why were you closing the curtains? And say, hey man, don't want you, to be a good target. And
Right.
so I was sitting in that bus and I couldn't look out. And, we were driving and you were looking at the clock, like at the watch, like every, 12 seconds or something,
Mhm.
because you actually felt that danger, in the air
Yeah.
that I've never felt before. And that emotion really changed something in me. And these days, I remember it almost every time I'm out in the woods, or I'm doing a lot of sports stuff out there, and I feel that freedom and that
Mhm.
peace. And I always think back to that moment where I was in that van, in that bus, um, like really super uncomfortable, and saying, I don't, I want this, I want to get out of the situation right now. So that changed a lot of me.
Yeah. I can imagine. Have you ever reconnected with any soldier that you
Yes.
met over there in Afghanistan?
Yes, we have a lot of soldiers that we still in contact with, and they are always free access to our shows every time they want to come and see a show. They're on the guest list, and like I said, back then when we would play in Wiesbaden, I met countless American soldiers that I'm still good friends with. Every Christmas, I fly over and spend Christmas with my best friend over in Florida, and
Oh, wow.
so yeah, he is one of my biggest influences, rock and roll wise as well. He never played a good instrument or anything, but his whole lifestyle, his old stories, and his musical taste. He knows every record ever made in rock and roll history, and I could, you know, open him like a treasure box, and he would, just spit great rock and roll right in my face. So I learned a
Right.
lot from that, and that whole rock and roll vibe in the military is yeah, it's a pretty important part of my life.
Okay. You mentioned Kiss before. You guys have played a bunch of different big festivals and tours and stuff with big name bands.
Yes.
Uh, what are some of your favorite acts that you guys have played with?
Yeah, Kiss is definitely one of them. Especially for Hardy, our bass player, he's like a real Kiss guy.
Okay.
And to play with Kiss was a big thing for him, but we all loved it, of course. We played with ZZ Top, which was big for me. I
Okay.
loved that so much. And Billy Gibbons came to me after the show with the with the little yogurt in his hand and his crazy hat on. And right before his show, and he came and was eating his yogurt. He's like, "Good show, man." And I was like, "Yes!" You know,
That's
I
awesome.
love that. Yeah, we played with Molly Hatcher. That was awesome. Played with Blackfoot. Was great. Scorpions and Foreigner. We played with Aerosmith on a super cool festival. And yeah, all these bands. That's what I said. It's one of the reasons you're doing that. You just want to get out there as far as you can, and know everything about everything. Get to see, get to play with everybody. So
Right.
that opportunity to go out and play with big names, and learn from them just by observing them,
Right.
is always like it's the best lesson, best kind of school you could ever get your hands on.
Hmm. Is there any band that you haven't played with that you'd love to play with?
Sure, sure. I just saw the Black Crowes playing, and I would love to play with them. And we all love the Rolling Stones. We all love AC/DC, of course.
Mhm.
And there's only a couple of names that are still playing. If I would think about bands that I can't play with anymore because the band is not existing anymore, that story would never end.
Yeah. Okay. You mentioned that you're into stuff like Machine Head and Pantera and stuff like that. What's the opposite extreme of a band that you've played with that New Roses has played with? Either a band that's super heavy or maybe from a completely different style of music.
Yeah, we played with a lot of extremes because in the early days we would play everywhere, and because I said like we have a very colorful musical collection in
Mhm.
on our records, we could easily get on every festival, and we already did. We played on super like straight up hardcore metal festivals with Slayer and all these bands that I don't even know the name of. Sometimes
Right.
you just wait backstage on a festival for your show, and you look out behind the curtains, like, and then you go on and say, "You want some rock and roll?" And you play that boogie woogie stuff, and it's
Right.
weird, but it works. It always works. And we
Hmm.
played with super straight up like poppy acts as well, and opened for them or played on festivals with them. But we always enjoy playing on metal festivals. This is really something special because the audience embraces the little break in that, uh, like that hardcore in your face kind of thing, and then we come
Right.
up and we smile, and everything's a little loose and a little lighter, and people enjoy that, and we enjoy giving that to them.
Okay. What are some of your favorite cities to play?
Oh, we love, of course, Wiesbaden to play. There's a super nice venue called the Schlachthof where I watched like 80% of all my shows I've ever seen. I
Mhm.
would live there as a teenager. And a lot of places in Germany, like Hamburg or Munich and stuff like that. But we love playing in Paris. We love playing in London a lot. And of course, we loved playing on the Kiss Cruise and being out there on the ocean and playing on like not even on on the ground, somewhere
Right.
out there. There was a cool place to play as well, and but actually, we everywhere with where's the stage and there's people that want to rock out to, um we like to go there. We
Right.
had a good time in the middle of the desert in Afghanistan. It was, it's not a place where would you would expect a rock and roll party,
Mhm.
but you put a stage there, you put people ready for rock and roll there, and it works. So that's
Right.
what we learned.
Right. The Kiss Cruise is actually taking place now. Do you look at that and think, man, I'd love to go back and do that one more time?
Sure, that's the fucking another downside of the COVID shit.
Mhm.
So you can they don't have they don't want to risk that anymore, to bring people
Right.
from Europe in, and with all the rules and orders that are changing every other day, and so
Mhm.
they I guess there's just American bands there again on the cruise, and so, but of course, I would love to be part of it again. But on the other side, I've been there twice, and that's more than
Right.
any other German band can say. Um, and so I'm very happy with that fact.
Cool. Um, should Pantera be going out and playing again?
Sure, why not? Is there controversy
Oh yeah,
going?
yeah. A
Yeah,
lot of people, yeah, especially in the States, or you've got two sides. You've got people that didn't get to see it who
yeah,
want to see it. There are other people that obviously, because the Abbott brothers aren't around, have a
yes.
problem with Phil and Rex continuing. But I've always said this about bands. I mean, what are they supposed to do? They own the name. Are they supposed to just let the songs die? Are they supposed to become painters all of a sudden? It just doesn't make sense.
It's a real difficult thing because I feel um, feel the two hearts beating in my own chest, you know.
Right.
The artist's heart says, "Man, I wrote those songs. I was there when it happened. You know, I want to play
Mhm.
them. You know, nobody can, you know, force me to not play my own shit.
Mhm.
You know, I totally understand that urge to go out and play great songs. You know,
Right.
and they have some great songs, and
Absolutely.
but the fan heart, you know, always is for fans. Some bands and maybe some, you know, specific formations,
Mhm.
members. It's like a religion to them, you know. It's like what they grew up on, what they believed in, what they, you know, what they accompanied, what accompanied them for years and decades and stuff, you know, and they feel betrayed, you know, when they say like, hey, I don't know this motherfucker on stage singing my favorite song or playing that, you know,
Right.
and I don't know that, I don't know him, you know, I want Dimebag back or nobody, you know, and I understand that too, you know, it's a
Mhm.
very difficult thing, so I can't answer that question, man. If
Okay.
from an artist perspective, I would say, fuck it, let's go and play.
Right. Okay. Cool. Where should people go to pick up Sweet Poison to ensure that the most amount of money gets back into the band's pockets?
Should come out and see us play, but it's pretty tough from the States to see us in the next few months. We're working on coming back, but it's very difficult due to COVID and the logistics and everything.
Mhm.
Um, but if you know, I don't care, and I don't even know about financial shit. You know, I just go out and play. So if you want the record, man, go to a record store, buy it, or download it, or steal it from your friend. I don't give a shit how, as long as you get to hear your good rock and roll music. You know.
Okay. And where should people go to keep up with the New Roses?
You mean you get to get their latest news and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know too, man. There's stuff out there, you know. There's YouTube, I guess, and there's some Instagram going on, and there's all these great tools you have these days, you know. So you'll find us if you want to find us. You find us, you know.
Okay. Um, how many people question the name? I've seen
Yeah,
people online say the New Roses. Didn't they know Guns N' Roses existed before them?
man. When we started playing 10 years ago, you
Hmm.
know, and we came up with the name, and we asked ourselves this question, you know, because we wanted to be super smart asses and said like, okay, if you hear the word New Roses,
Hmm.
it means like new roses, you know.
Right.
Like we write it in a different way so people get confused and it's super smart, you know.
Hmm.
So we did that and nobody ever got it. Nobody ever connected like what they heard and what they read. They
Right.
just read it and said like, "Oh, the New Roses, is that like a Guns N' Roses cover band or something?"
Hmm.
And when we started playing, we would come out on stage and people like after 5 songs they would boo us, you know, and say like, "Get the fuck off or play fucking Paradise City." They thought we were an actual Guns N' Roses cover band.
Hmm.
Like even the promoters, like the events, they booked us
Right.
believing they're booking a Guns N' Roses cover band. And so the first years they were pretty tough with, you know, that term, and but we you know we kind of grew out of that, and still I get asked this question every once in a while, and um, we have totally underestimated that, you know, because we thought
Right.
there's bands like Rose Tattoo,
Hmm.
or I don't know, you know, and stuff. Other bands like we thought the Roses. We didn't even think at all about Guns N' Roses, you know. We
Right.
thought it's just it's a cool symbol of rock and roll music, you know.
Hmm.
So we totally underestimated. Is that the right word? Underestimated.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's the we totally underestimated that impact that name would have on people, and how uh, how eternally it's connected to Guns N' Roses. And then those motherfuckers reunited, you know. Can you believe that? We thought, you know, that when we formed the New Roses, there wasn't even like a hint that they would ever get back together again. You know, that thing was still like for eternity. It was like, you know, war zone, you know. But you know, we came out, played our first 3-4 shows, and then it was all over the news. Guns N' Roses gets back together, and we're like, fuck, we're fucked. We're fucked forever. So now we grew out of that, and you know, we take it, we take it on the chin. Hey everybody, this is Timmy Rough from the New Roses, and you're listening to Signals from Mars.
Thank you for watching the Signals from Mars live stream. You can watch the show live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, or check out replays on YouTube. Go to signalsfrommars.com for more information. This concludes our show.